and magic. This is so true when it comes to tourism. People are looking for the magic. That's now part of experiential in tourism. People are not just buying 4 walls, 2 pillows, and a bed. They're buying that guest experience. And that's what marketers have to do. They're there to sell them that magic. So, yeah, marketing defined. Sorry, I have to use notes. It gives me something to look at. So, this is the 101 piece of my presentation, and bear with me. I know you guys all know what marketing is, but the important part of this is, what is marketing? Well, it's an active process of selling or purchasing in a market. Well, yeah, we all know that. The process or technique of promoting, selling, and distributing a product or service. So to me, the most important part of marketing in tourism is the process. So a true marketer embraces the process. We are never, as marketers, done marketing. We never reach the pinnacle. We're never there. We're always taking that process and going on that journey. So even when we have finished our campaign, we're not done. We're looking for the next campaign. We're always continuing to poke the box. We're always moving forward. So marketing, the most part for me, is that it's a process. So I know you guys have had a little tease of this, but here we go.
Try some more. The strawberries taste like strawberries.
Sorry for
the
the volume.
snozberries taste like snozberries.
Snozberries? Who ever had a snozberry?
Marketers are the music makers. Marketers take those dreams and we make them better. So the consumers, we know that they're selling, we're being sold a hotel room. The consumers want us to make it sexy. They want us to sell to them. Otherwise, anyone can do it. Willy Wonka wasn't just a guy who sold candy. You know, he was a guy who sold the dream. He was the guy who sold the golden ticket. Well, that's what marketers are. So, over here, I'm going to talk, oh, you guys, roll your eyes here. The original 5 P's of marketing. Does anybody remember this from college? Okay. You guys are in college right now? Well, we have our famous product, price, place, people, promotion, right? Those are the original ones. Stop me if you guys don't remember what those are, but then the 2 new ones were process, and again, I talked about the important component of process and how marketers are never done processing, and then physical evidence. So physical evidence now relates to maybe your signage, maybe what your staff uniform looks like, maybe your branding. That could be your physical evidence, and that's different than place, wherever that is. So place is the location of your hotel. Physical evidence is different, okay? But there's one thing that I added to make this 8 Ps, which I didn't actually get until I got into the real world. When I was in school, it was all theoretical. This all didn't make sense to me until I was actually working. And the last piece is the most important piece to me, and that's profit. If you don't make money for the company that you're working for, you're not going to be working for that company, okay? So at the end of the day, you have to sell. So none of these other 7 Ps matter if you're not making money. And I cannot express that to you more. The company has to pay you, and they have to pay their employees. And when you're in the sales department or a marketing department of a hotel or a big airline, you have to be able to produce. So the 8th P is profit. So now, that's my 101 marketing stuff right there. So now I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into the actual tourism part of this. So Focusrite is a company that specializes in travel research. And they put together the touch points that a typical vacation booker will hit on prior to going on a vacation. Now, understand this is different than like a business travel person who is going to go, let's say he's going to go to Indianapolis for a business meeting. That's a whole different set of touch points. This is your going away to Walt Disney, and you've been saving for 5 years, and this is a big vacation for you. The typical vacation booker will hit 6.5 touch points before they go on vacation. Those 6.5 touch points, the number one touch point that person hits is the online travel agency. You guys know them as Expedia.com, Hotels.com, CheapCaribbean.com if you're going to go to the Caribbean somewhere. That in the industry is what we call an OTA. Our industry loves an acronyms. We have them too. The next one is the general search engine, and that would be Google, Bing, Yahoo. So you type in Playa del Carmen, look what pops up, okay? So if you have an interest in going, say, to Mexico. The next one, actually, believe it or not, is the third, is the actual brand website, Hilton, Marriott. We don't, as vacation bookers, hit that brand website until the third, it's the third most popular. The travel review website, that's going to be like TripAdvisor. So you can see the importance of owning your brand identity, but look at the reviewers. These are people that you don't control. So I could have a whole nother session on how important TripAdvisor is, but I'm not going to get into that too much today. But it's high up there. 56% of the people are hitting TripAdvisor. Travel Meta, that's Kayak, Trivago. Everybody's seen the Trivago ads. That's a meta search. That's an aggregate of the OTAs that serves it up. Paid advertising comes from the OTAs and is hit on Meta. So that's up there too. And I would say even now, since Meta's doing more advertising, that number is going to be even higher, especially with the Trivago. Destination websites, that's going to be like the destination, like if you want to go to Key West, you're going to hit the Key West, the Visit Florida Keys. That is a destination site. Social networks are the Facebook pages, the Instagram pages, and the travel guides. They're still there, they're just not as relevant as they used to be because all of the other stuff has surfaced to the top. And the last thing are the travel magazines and the newspapers. So the Condé Nast, the travel and leisure guides. And then you have some more specific like diving magazines, like honeymoon guides and things like that. Those are going to fall in the final touch point. So the most important part of these is the content that is driven in the top. Content is king. Content is going to be one of the things that I focus on here because in hotel marketing, content drives the bus. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. Historically, travel marketing has always existed. And travel, I like to say, is the number 2 oldest industry, just because the first oldest industry needed a place to stay. We always have been there. And there's always been travel marketing. You know, a cairn is a set of rocks that guides your path. If you think about all of the different hotels all back through the millennium, people have been nomadic. We've always wanted to go and see what's out there. Is the world flat? What's down that road? So people have always been explorers. So there's always been travel marketers. We just didn't call them that. So it's something that I have a passion about. And you know, if you look for the signs, it's always been there. So now I would like to take you a little bit more modern and show you some examples of some fun travel advertising. And then I want you to think about the next ad campaign and what you like about it, and then maybe what you think is missing from it.
He wasn't the stuff of legends. There was no magic up his sleeve. He didn't have wings or a cape. He was but just a man.
Brands Go Beyond campaign. They did several commercials that were geared around the Go Beyond theme. They're using real employees in this campaign. So what I like about this is that they're inspiring you to consider their brand. They use a mom with a child in this particular ad. Some of their other campaigns, they're out in the desert. If you'd like to see the rest of them, you can go to YouTube and see them all. But, so they're not here actually in your face with an offer. So one of the things that they're missing here is a call to action. There is no call to action. They're branding here. They're not, inspiring you to book. They're not saying fourth night free or anything like that. But they are definitely trying to give you something that's an emotional connection. So there's a difference between marketing for a call to action and marketing for emotional connections and having you associate their brand with something. So they want you to associate their brand with a company that cares and maybe family oriented. So we talked about the clutter, and I just want to show you what travel consumers are bombarded with. These are just ads that just will pop up on a, if you guys are not getting these, you're going to be getting them. You're overwhelmed with clutter and chaos in travel. So how, you as a travel marketer, how are you going to, help your consumers get through all of this? That's your job. You're bombarding them with Google search, Google ads, Facebook ads, some of the digital display ads that we saw earlier today. Your job is going to be delivering all this to your consumers, to your bookers, to your lookers. You have to take your lookers and make them book. How do you do all of that? Well, I'm just going to talk a little bit about tourism marketing, how we do that. So as a tourism marketer, these are the ways that you're going to do that. You're going to focus on what your product's strengths are, okay? First and foremost, you have to know your product, okay? Know their strengths. So if you're really good for honeymooners, then that's where you want to gear towards, okay? If you're really great for families, know why that you're good for families. Know what the strengths are, know what the weaknesses are. Then you're going to build your campaign around that. What's your brand objective? Why would a consumer want to book it? Why would a consumer want to buy? So obviously, that's really what you're there for. You have to be able to take that brand objective and move it into a campaign, okay? Or take that brand objective and move it into that particular campaign for that particular season. Sometimes it's seasonal. Sometimes you're selling a spring break, but you may not want to sell spring break in the fall when only seniors are traveling. So you have to be able to shift or pivot based on your seasons and based on what's happening in the market. Who's the target audience? Again, you don't want to go after spring breakers if you have seniors in the hotel, okay? So you need to know who you're going after. Competition. So I think you guys have all touched a little bit today and yesterday on competition. Competition in the travel business is extremely important. One of the things I was told when I was just getting into the business is you need to become an expert on your competition. And that holds for every single industry that you're in. You need to know what they're good at, what they're bad at, what are their strengths and weaknesses. So that way you know how to take advantage of their shortcomings and you can target your campaigns and your sales pitches around them because your consumers are already looking at the competition. So you need to become an expert just as much as they are. And one of the best pieces of advice I was given when I was first starting was my director of sales told me, go stay in the competition. Be a guest. So it's not just good enough to take a site inspection or a tour around each hotel that was in my market set. I needed to physically spend the night there. I needed to take a shower, put my head on the pillow, eat breakfast in the restaurant of every single hotel that I was selling against. So I could say, I've stayed there. I know what that experience was like. So if you're working for a hotel or if you're working for an airline, take a flight, get behind their chairs, meet their customer service people, become an expert at the competition. Now more than ever, you need to be able to adapt to change. You need to be able to pivot. You need to be able to know what the new technologies are. If you don't know how to use Snapchat because you've never heard of it, or you just don't want to learn a new technology, by God, ask your 13-year-old daughter. You need to know how to use the new technology every time it's coming up, because things are rapidly changing. They're constantly changing. And just when we get to know something, we need to shift, to pivot, and learn the next new thing. And it's crazy, and that's why we have people who are experts in certain fields, but it's constantly shifting. So you kind of need to stay up with it, but you also need to be able to be nimble and don't lock yourself into something. Don't sign 2, 3, 4-year contracts that you can't get out of because no one's looking down the road at that anymore. Now everybody's over here, but you're locked into something over there. So be able to be nimble, be able to move, be able to pivot. Here's something else that I think is very important, and I know earlier today they talked about authenticity in a product and authenticity in what you're selling. That's super important, because if your brand is not perceived to be the value that the consumer wants, then they're not going to buy it. So if you're selling a resort and it costs $800 a night, by God, you better deliver something that's worth $800 a night, or nobody's going to book it. And by the same token, if your product is worth more than the perceived value, then you're leaving money on the table. So make sure that your perceived value is on track with what your pricing is. And finally, going back to that Sheridan commercial, can you make an emotional connection with your customers? Emotional connection in marketing is super, super important. It's how you earn brand loyalty, and it's how you earn customers for life. So nowadays, emotional connection with guests is just so important. They become your advocates, and in social media, that's what people really are. They're advocates for your product, and they're the ones who are going to be posting and being the face of your product. And if you don't have that emotional connection with them, it could be a negative effect, or it could be just no effect. So you really want to have 1,000 minions out there of supporters, and that's how you do it. So we've talked about trying to be different. Everybody has talked about that in this session. Seth Godin talks about being remarkable. And, so you're saying, well, how do I be different? How can I be remarkable? Just don't be the same as everyone else. We talk a lot about tunneling through the chaos and focusing on core values. Core values is what the brand is, what your company believes in. So if you know your core values, then you're going to stay true to that company, stay true to that brand, and then you're going to be able to build your campaign around that. So if Sheridan stays true to their core values, they're going to focus on service with their staff, they're going to focus on families, and they're focusing on their staff first. So that's why they use their staff in their ad campaigns. And then don't be afraid to fail. And risk-taking and not being afraid to fail in marketing has a lot of that. I want to say that's probably one of the themes that has kind of held true on almost every session that I've heard at this conference. And not being able to fail just means stepping outside your comfort zone, really, and making sure that you're an advocate for your ideas. So if you believe in something, you need to be an advocate for yourself. Don't be afraid to try something out. It's gonna fail. You're gonna fail. If you're in sales, you're gonna get rejected. There's no question. You're gonna have doors slammed in your face. You have to have a little bit of a backbone and get used to someone saying no. But the more no's you get, the more yeses you'll hear. And like Andy said in the session last night, had he not been told no, he would never have won the awards on the campaigns that he did win on. So sometimes when you're failing, it seems like that's the end, but you may not even realize it leads to a door that leads to. And Seth talks about, or any other way, make sure you have a call to action. I can't tell you how many times I have looked at marketing campaigns and I don't know how to buy, I don't know how to book, I don't know where to go. Here you have telephone numbers, international telephone numbers, US telephone numbers. You have Facebook pages. You have their website. These guys make it super easy to book, which is great. So finally, what is missing? So there's something missing on this campaign, in my opinion, that they could have done, and that is an offer. So, and a sense of urgency and an offer. So they could have put a price, down here, or limited time, or some kind of compelling sense of urgency, make me click, book now, something that drives, this is what this rate is going to be, so I know, oh wow, that's a very good deal. But otherwise, I think it's a wonderful piece that they put together. So this is my hotel outside of Universal Studios. It's a DoubleTree at the entrance of Universal Studios, which you don't even know that it's outside Universal Studios, but it's a large hotel, 700 rooms. Images tell the story, okay? So when you use this image with the brand new guest rooms, with the location, which is right across the street from Universal Studios, it definitely tells a story. So make sure if you're doing a campaign with tourism that you have lots of images. The best campaigns will inspire customers to go. So as marketers, your job is to create that sense of magic and that sense of wonder, and to also let them know it's possible. So it doesn't do any good if you're not inspiring them to take that vacation. Even if they have to save, because Universal Studios vacation is not cheap, and some people need to save for it, we need to inspire them that that trip is going to be worth it. There we go, the sense of possibility. Yes, you can take that Walt Disney World vacation. You may have to save for a couple of years, but yes, you can do it. So we need to make it possible. And then elevate the expectations. So people want to know that on that vacation, they're getting something that is braggable. We need to raise our service levels up to their expectations. We don't want to have, when a guest gets to the property, they have an expectation of this is their vacation. Oh my gosh, I've been saving for this vacation for 2 years. I'm finally going to Universal Studios. They think this is it. The moment you get on that plane, how excited are you to be going on vacation? Super excited, right? And then you get there and you have a disastrous experience. Well, that expectation level has just hit the floor because you haven't met their expectations. That service has not matched their expectations. So you need to keep your service levels and your property and your experiences in line with the expectations. Otherwise, it's going to be hit or miss. If anything, you want their expectations to be lower than what you're actually delivering. It would be you want to overperform. And then content king, again, I'm going to say it a lot, and sharing to your advantage. Let the sharing of their social media work for you. You can, I know you guys have already had another social media seminar, but retweets and stuff like that, it's just more, it adds to your value when you have great posts. Another thing that I could say is that use the negative posts also to your advantage. The way that you respond to negative comments is very important. No guest out there believes that an airline is 100% fail-proof. No guest out there believes that a hotel stay is always going to be positive. There will be things that go wrong with your hotel or with your airline. How you react is what matters. And people are watching how you handle a negative incident. Trust me, United Airlines has learned this. Okay, so quickly, I'm going to run through a campaign that I did at a hotel in Mexico. This was tax day. So we launched this, this is a 200-room resort in Playa del Carmen, and this was just this recent tax day in April. So we wanted to build a campaign associated with people who were getting their tax refund. We want you to spend your tax refund in Playa del Carmen on a vacation with our hotel. So we targeted search engine optimization, search engine marketing, Sojourn campaigns. We did e-blasts to past guests who have stayed with us. We posted it on social media. So we built a whole campaign geared around this theme: tax season, dose of vitamin C, spend your tax refund with us. So here is this is the email that we went with, and we sent 22,900 emails, and we had an open rate of 4,800. Distinct opens were 3,500 on this email campaign. So I talk about special offers here because besides personal considerations, a special offer for your property or for your any of your tourism, if you're in airlines or whatever, sales. Let's just call it a sale. Besides the personal considerations, your reason for being there. Special offers is the number 2 reason why they're going to book your property. So special offers are super important. Now that doesn't mean clutter your website with the same special offer. I'm not telling you to always be on sale, but consumers have been trained to look for deals. Okay? So what do you do when you go shopping? You're looking for the sale. It's just something that we've been trained to do. And so the same holds with travel. You know, you're always looking for that deal, right? So it's OTAs have taught us that too, online travel agencies. We've been taught now to look for a deal. So it doesn't always have to be the same thing, and you can recreate it or put it out there in a different way. So that's why marketers are so important. We have to come up with creative ways to package that promotion. Social and cultural reasons are just slightly behind the special offer, which is comforting that people are still interested in culture, entertainment, and then seen in the media. So this is particularly for the tourism industry, but you can see the effects on that special offers have. So special offers, here we go for our tax day deal. I'm showing you that this is the offer that we did for TripAdvisor. So TripAdvisor has a special offers link. And here we have the exact copy that we did, 25% off, and you get a resort credit, and how you can book right here, book online. Then we have our blog. So when you hit our website, we also have a blog. Blogging is very important because it increases the search engine optimization. And finally, we have our Google ad. So we hit them on every front when we do a campaign like this. So the key metrics from this particular campaign, we did $71,000 in revenue. Again, I talk about profit being very important. If you don't make money, the campaign wasn't worth it. But in actuality, this is just the digital results. What we're not showing here is voice. So people, when you're booking a big vacation, like going away to Playa del Carmen, Mexico, and let's say you've never been there before, you still may want to speak to someone about that. So let's say you saw the Facebook ad and you got the e-blast, but then you pick up the phone and you call, because we also have the 800 number. We got about $30,000 more in phone on top of this campaign, which we count. So overall, we did about $120,000 in revenue from just that one campaign, which was a 13% ROI for us on this campaign. So it was definitely a success. And you can see the package revenue by device. For us, desktop was still very important. However, mobile and tablet is still is trending strong. On the OTAs, mobile and tablet is coming up very strong. I'll say this about Mexico. Mexico is a big, big purchase for many people. So most people are going to go onto their desktop because it's a larger buy. For a smaller buy, they'll do it from their tablet or their mobile. But when you're looking at going away, let's say like Walt Disney World or something that has a bigger ticket price, you want to look at it on a bigger screen. So that's why we're going to see more on the desktop. So again, I talk about the special offers. This is a hotel in Belize, the Lodge at Chaw Creek, which I've actually been to. So I love their special offer because they talk about limited time. They use the words limited time sale. They talk about their culture. You get free activities such as canoeing, their butterfly farm. They have the Morphos butterflies down there. So you can go and actually see the butterflies hatching. Those are the big, beautiful blue butterflies. They tell you how to redeem, how to book this offer. They make it easy. You can email or you can call. Okay? Then they use the word free night. I mean, who doesn't like the word free? So, lots of research has shown using the word free definitely gets you more clicks. So this is an excellent campaign for a very, very remote resort in the jungles of Belize. But it's a wonderful place. Cheap flights are more important. I think millennials don't have as much disposable income, so they're still focused on getting there. Then they worry about the offer. Maybe because they have other ways or other places to stay. Millennials will stay at Airbnb or stay with a friend. So they're first and foremost, they're going to be focused on the cheap flight. But special offers are still really, really important. So it depends on which market segment or what demographic that you're going to be targeting. But even interesting though, Gen X and millennials are still very, very interested in culture. So another thing I'm going to talk about a little bit is experiential travel. And that's one of the things when we talk about the future, I think we're going to come back to is more experiential. In my opinion, millennials are all about experiences and not about things. They don't care so much about having products. They care more about doing stuff. Okay? So I'm going to give you an example of one of my favorite travel companies and how they use humor. And they're a luxury brand, so I think you're going to like this ad.
I know, yeah.
Hi, I'm looking for the shower. There are no showers here, ma'am. Well, aren't I gonna look really silly dressed like this in the lounge? There's no lounge here, ma'am, but what we do have hot towels and a bag of peanuts. You have showers. Emirates planes have showers and lounges.
This isn't an Emirates plane.
No. There's no shower? Oh, and you have no lounge? Are you laughing like that? You're killing me. It was such a nightmare. I was on a plane and it was nothing like this.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you so much. Hey, is there someone we can talk to about maybe flying this around a little bit longer before we land? It's like an hour.
So Emirates does a fabulous job with their core strengths. They are luxury. They know what they are, but they also use humor in their ad campaigns, and it works very effectively for them. I think that they have a couple of other ads if you guys are interested in seeing them. And Jennifer, she is one of their spokespeople, and I think that it just works very, very well for them. So sense of humor can work wonderfully in ad campaigns and for tourism marketing as well. But at times, sense of humor may not be effective. So some of the quick places that you don't want to use sense of humor, luxury products tend to not use sense of humor. I don't know why. You don't see, even this holds true for retail brands, but I think that sense of humor can be very effective. It captures you, and it's definitely something that people, if they use it subtly, it can be very effective. But you don't want to use it when you're repairing a Republic of Nations black eye. So United, I would probably not recommend to use sense of humor right now. Luxury brands, again, they tend to not use sense of humor. This is the St. Regis ad. There's nothing funny about it. Sensitive target audience. So if your hotel is located next to a hospital or a cancer research center, that's not an appropriate place for humor. Global or local crisis, that goes without saying. And then finally, a controversial topic. So if you have like a terrorism or religion, something going on in the world, you don't want to touch on sense of humor. This next campaign is a destination that everybody knows, but I put this in there because I think it misses the mark on their message. But you guys let me know what you think. So that's Las Vegas.
Vegas
What?
is weird.
Leave your stiff upper lip at home. When I said, don't be afraid to fail, in my opinion, I think this is one that missed the mark. God bless Las Vegas. But what happens here stays here. Campaigns have been very, very successful. But leave your stiff upper lip at home is one of those that they tried that did not succeed. So, but you know what? You have to take risks. And Vegas is a destination that does take risks. But I just wanted you guys to see an example where I think maybe they missed the mark. But it's okay. Because at the end of the day, they're trying something, and they're trying something different. And I'm always encouraging brands and marketing campaigns to at least try, okay? But I wanted to show you that one. So what's the future look like for tourism? So the first thing, experiential. Experiential travel, I just touched on it, that's going to be the next wave. And it's already there, really, going to the Galapagos, taking your trip to Machu Picchu, which has been forever. Let's talk about Cuba for a minute. That is up and coming. I mean, Americans are chomping at the bit to get to Cuba. Why? Because we haven't been allowed to go there. Okay, so experiential travel is the new thing. It's because people want experiences. They already have all the junk. They already have all the technology. They already have all of this stuff. Ask anybody who is working with a senior who is got a house full of stuff. Who wants their grandparents' china right now? Who wants their grandparents' tchotchkes? No one. It's because people are just filled with stuff in houses full of stuff. Millennials don't want all that stuff. What they want is to do. Okay? So that's the next thing. That's the next level storytelling. So this picture right here, and I'm sorry it's a bad picture, but this is Bhutan. Bhutan only takes 25,000 tourists a year. Okay? It's a small country near Tibet and near Nepal. And it's very hard to get into as a tourist. And you can go there, you can trek there, but you have to apply for a visa to get there. So these are the kinds of experiences. This is the kind of next level storytelling that tourism seekers are looking to do. And that's where I think the future looks like. Retro. So I think retro kind of tourism is something that's going to be interesting. I think what's old is new again. So think about cross-country trips. Think about Route 66. The chic RV trips. Like, so you pile your friends and you go in an RV and you take a trip across the country, or you take a trip through the Canadian wilderness, but you're doing it in like maybe a luxury RV. That's kind of something that's coming up. You're going to see more stuff like that. It combines experiences with some of the old retro stuff. So that is something to keep your eyes open for. Technology, again, technology is constantly changing. When it happens with hotels, you're going to see you're no longer going to have key cards. You're going to be checking in with your retinas in the future. Front desks are going to completely go away. There is going to be, with airlines, you're going to start to see maybe a little more regional flights, smaller airlines that are going to go to the actual destination you want to go to. So if you're trying to get to Huntington from Los Angeles, you're going to be able to fly from Los Angeles straight into Huntington, but maybe on a smaller plane. So that kind of stuff is going to happen. And automation, again, the automation is already existing. We see it everywhere, from scanning your own groceries at the grocery store to the ATMs. Well, automation will continue in the hotel business. For good or for bad, it's going to happen. I don't know if you guys have ever been to any restaurants where you can just order your drinks and then you have a bartender that is a robotic bartender. Have you guys seen any of those where it mixes and shakes it? It pours the drinks and it shakes them up with a robotic arm. That kind of stuff. It's like trendy right now, but who knows? Maybe that could be the next wave. Although I don't know if a bartender would be so good to listen to your stories about how you just broke up with your boyfriend, but that's kind of the next thing. So I'm getting closer to wrapping up here. How can we wrap up all of these things, experiential, next level storytelling, technology, automation, into like one kind of experience? Well, I'm going to give you my final little video here. This is a company that I think is going to be able to do something like that, and this is next level stuff.
All right, guys, have a good flight. See you. Thanks, Suji. All right. Hide your mask, man. Hide your mask.
Something's wrong with the video. So that is Virgin Galactic. Virgin Galactic started, this was they did on October 2014, they did their 55th their test flight, and in the Mojave Desert they crashed, and they lost one of those test pilots. So Richard Branson is doing Virgin Galactic, and he's taking tourists to space. So that's next level. But despite the fact that they had that setback and lost one of those test pilots a couple of years ago, they're on track to continue with space tourism. And if I told you today that you could go to Virgin Galactic's website and for only $250,000 you could sign up to be a space tourist, if you had that kind of money, you would do it. Because that's next level, and that's what the future of tourism is going to be. So how exciting is that? You know, that's pretty cool. That stuff is coming, and it's going to be more affordable. So $250,000 now. Think what it's going to be like in 10 years with the, you know, how rapid technology is changing. So they didn't need a call to action, did they? the video sells itself. So anyway, I'm wrapping up. I know I'm over my time limit. I started a little late. Real quickly, everyone with a phone is now a tourism marketer. So you just got to be aware of that in your business. Marketing is storytelling, okay? You guys know that. Remember those 8 core principles. Focus on profit. We talk about consumers being bombarded with messages. You have to help them get through all that clutter. sense of humor. Pretend just channel your inner Jennifer Aniston and use sense of humor, but use it nuanced. Be nimble and have a call to action. Don't forget, if you're marketing, make sure they know how to book you and take chances. Finally, measure, adjust, repeat, and measure again. And I'm going to skip this part because you guys already know all this. All right? We've already talked about a lot of that stuff. Growth starting at the edge of your comfort zone. Don't being afraid of making mistakes. One of these things, this is important to me. Networks create jobs. Use your network when you're looking for a job. Don't just try to go find a job online. Use your network. That's where you're going to find your jobs. And then finally, start at the bottom for your dream job. If your dream job is to work for Google, become a clerk at Google. Don't take no for an answer. Find the best job, the best company for the job you want to work with, and get your foot in the door. I don't care how you get your foot in the door. Don't take no for an answer. So if you want to work for Hilton Hotels, find your way into Hilton Hotels. It's easier to rise within a company than to try and get in as vice president. So start at the bottom and work your way up. They will recognize your talent, but don't take no for an answer. So I talked about my past, and I actually came up with my name Highwire Marketing because I actually did Highwire. And so talking about taking chances and taking risks, walking on a tightrope was a big risk for me, but I did it and I loved it, and so now that's what made me unique. And so I took that to the next level, and that's how I created my company. So my favorite quote on travel: how often I found where I should be going only by setting out for somewhere else. You never know where you're going to end up, but you got to take that first step and go out on the road. So if you guys want to connect with me, you can. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm sorry I went over time, but I had a lot of content, more than I realized. And if you want to look at the books or anything, they're up here. But if you guys have any questions, otherwise, enjoy your lunch. Yes?
How has the travel ban affected tourism overall, and what have you seen?
Well, that's a great question. The travel ban has not affected tourism yet because it hasn't really been in place yet. I think it affects us because